In a CNN interview, Donald Trump was asked what he would say to the Pope if he were to meet him next month. Roll it, Sven.
The Pope believes that capitalism can be a real avenue to greed. It can be really toxic and corrupt. And he's shaking his finger at you when he says it. What do you say in response to the Pope?
I'd say ISIS wants to get you. You know that ISIS wants to go in and take over the Vatican. You have heard that. You know that's a dream of theirs to go into Italy. If you look at what's going on, they better hope that capitalism works because it's the only thing we have right now. And it's a great thing when it works properly.
Well done. Now, I think it's great for Donald to meet the Pope. Here you have together an outspoken leader of a major religion and the Pope. But Donald is right, especially since the Pope has bashed capitalism, which has lifted millions out of misery. And he's also said that Charlie Hebdo victims should have known better. That's not good. As for ISIS, they do want to kill the Pope, but they want to kill everyone, including themselves. Heaven awaits such tools. But Trump should take his own advice, too, and put all focus on those who wish to destroy us. Just for fun, let's ponder these headlines from the past. Clinton sees crisis from global warming. It's time to fix America's broken immigration system. Both of those headlines were from September 10th, 2001, the day before 9/11. There were no headlines on Islamic terror, but lots on immigration and global warming. So while those concerns matter, it's the stuff we never see coming that gets us. We're facing a new age of terror. Today's technology married to today's hate. When ghouls master new methods of mayhem, today's barbarism will seem like the good old days. So if you're ever going to be a single issue voter, that's your issue. Our next president must put aside platitudes and come to grips with a new threat that's almost too horrid to contemplate. A store-bought drone with aerosol spores offers 10 9/11s at a fraction of the cost. If that doesn't get the Pope's or Donald's and America's attention, then nothing will. What a great meeting, KG, if the Pope and Donald got together. How do you think that would go?
I would like to get an invite.
Yes.
I would for sure RSVP immediately. I think it would definitely be a surprise, probably for both, depending on how that went. But when you see his comments right away off the bat, he's like, the first thing he thinks about with the Pope is, hey Pope, ISIS is after you.
Yes.
It's not exactly what you think your opening line would be, right?
Yeah.
But he wants to get right to the point and say, look, there's this threat of global terrorism. And then he also wants to then sell capitalism to the Pope. I'm all in on him bringing up those two ideas, put it that way.
Juan, what did you make of that? It's true. I mean, those are bigger concerns than the Pope's, I think.
What do you mean?
Well, terror, ISIS is a little more scarier than air conditioning, which the Pope seems to hate.
Wait a second. The Pope is an Argentinian, and he's talking about people who live on farms where they're being exploited by capitalists.
Not just that.
He's talking
Don't play that
about.
Game with me.
I am playing that game.
No,
Remember, the dung of the devil. You yourself said that there is such a thing as.
Are we in medieval times?
Yes, remember that's what that's what Donald said.
I remember
that.
I know.
Yeah, and last time you were talking about how the Pope said, you got to watch out for people who exploit folks.
Mm-hmm. That's what he sees as capitalism. He's a communist.
Right. He's a communist.
He is a communist. Right. Let's admit it, people.
Okay, first off,
yes.
Donald Trump is brilliant at finding out. Hi, thanks for welcoming me, Greg.
Yeah.
For Eric, hope he feels better. But real quick, essentially, Donald Trump is brilliant at finding somebody's weakness.
Yes.
So he says, okay, the Pope really has a problem with capitalism. Mm-hmm. Who's protecting you? And by the way, who's the superpower that's got your back? We are. Mm-hmm. Now let's drill down on capitalism. Do you have a better idea, Mr. Pope? If you want to be, and that's a show of respect, Mr. Pope, if you want to be protected, if you have a better way, if you want to further perfect capitalism, that's fine. To show kindness, we're the kindest, most charitable nation in the world. To tell us to not alter money and profit, when we go ahead and pursue money and profit, we create jobs and opportunity.
That is so true, Melissa. Go ahead, call us greedy.
We cannot possibly fight about this again. What I love about this is like every answer with Donald Trump, he starts answering and you go, he's crazy. And then he talks for a little while longer and you're like, wait a second, there's sense in there. He was saying, why the heck are we talking about capitalism when ISIS is coming to kill us? We need to focus on other things. So he was shifting the focus. I also like how he said, I have great respect for the Pope. I like him. I actually like him. That's like the kiss of death from Trump.
Yeah, yeah.
He like comes in right afterwards and it's like, but you're an idiot.
Yeah. It's always when he says he likes you.
Right,
and you
it's like,
run
watch
screaming.
out.
I want to run this. This is Donald Trump talking about where he gets his military views from, since he's talking about ISIS.
Who talk to for military advice right now?
Well, I watch the shows. I mean, I really see a lot of great, when you watch your show and all of the other shows, and you have the generals, and you have certain people that
But
you
is there
like.
somebody, is there a go-to for you?
Probably there are two or
every
three.
presidential candidate has a go-to.
Probably there are two or three. I mean, I like Bolton. I think he's, tough cookie, knows what he's talking about. Jacobs is a
You
good
mean
guy.
Ambassador John Bolton?
Yes.
You
I
mean
think
Colonel
he's
Jack
terrific.
Jacobs?
Colonel Jack Jacobs is a good guy, and I see him on occasion.
So, Kimberly, we're talking about some serious topics. Should we trust a man who gets his information from the Sunday shows, even though he mentions Bolton, which is if you put Bolton in his administration, that would be great.
Because he was the king of Red Eye, wasn't he?
He was the
president
king of Red Eye
Yes,
for a
he
long
was.
time until
that doesn't bother me. I'd rather you be exposed to a variety of different mediums and get your information from newspapers, from watching great interviews. You can learn a lot
But
from it.
didn't
So
we make fun of
bother me.
President Obama for saying
what?
these
Oh,
things?
absolutely.
Like he would say, I found out about it on TV, and we mercilessly mocked him.
All right, well, I don't have a problem with it, but you can over there. I think it's
tell you
fine
what,
if he listens
I
to
have a huge
Ambassador
problem.
Bolton or General Jack Keane is another person.
I waited. I thought you would bring up Jack because
You
he's
know
your
I love
favorite.
him.
I know you
Right.
do, so I appreciate that. But I was going to say that he says his favorite website is Drudge. He says he gets everything from Drudge, thinks Drudge is a genius because he's well informed after reading Drudge. And now he's telling us he watches the shows and feels he can get
He
all the
also said that
information.
he reads all the newspapers as well.
Well, I somehow don't think that he
Right.
really meant that. I think when he meant
It's Trump's
Drudge.
weakest moment. Let's be honest. We watched all the interviews. He's compelling. He's great television. It's his weakest moment. But he also made a speech yesterday. He had one excerpt and said, I'm going to be a bit of a sleeper on the military. People are going to be surprised how good I am on it. What he does is he finds experts in areas.
Right.
He's not going to be there calling the shots and saying, put the cannons here and the ICB missiles here. He's going to be getting the best people involved in doing their things and executing the plan. Like George Bush had a way of saying, the generals, you've been in military your entire life. Why am I calling the shots? Tell me your plans. Sell me on these
Well,
plans.
doesn't that make
Debate
sense?
it in front of me.
It's
Yes.
like best practices. You look and see what works. You go to the
But that
people
would have been a
that
better
the
answer. My
expertise.
answer would have been a better answer.
Yeah, I think your answer
My
is
answer is
not.
better than his answer.
But do you think that he's ill-prepared or
Of
ill-equipped
course.
or doesn't
You think
have
he
the
has
info-
any experience, Kimberly?
I believe
I
this
do,
question was for
actually.
Brian Kilmeade, who made the criticism.
Well, what I'm saying is it's okay to have a resource. Of course, no one thinks that Donald Trump is buying buildings and is a military expert.
I hope
but his
not.
answer would probably be, I'm going to refer to Colin Powell, or I'm going to be finding the best military advisors I can get a hold of, and therefore I won't have a policy.
It'll be Omarosa.
Omarosa, who was the villain in
Yes.
almost every single episode. Even the celebrity. She even made Celebrity Apprentice.
Yes.
But that's what deal guys do. I mean, that's what business guys like.
Correct.
You don't only buy companies that you know exactly how to run that company as the CEO. You're only one person. I mean, you buy a company and then you identify who's the best in that space. You put him in there to run that business. Right. So he's not expected to know how to do every single thing. He is expected to know how to find the best people to give him the best advice in the areas that he doesn't know.
Yeah, but you're
I
expected
think he
to
can
have
do that.
some foreign policy expertise. I mean, that's
Like
where the
President
president
Obama?
makes a
When he was
difference.
a community organizer?
No, but the president was in the Senate and dealing with some of these
For 144
issues.
days?
Let me just say that, Mike Hayden, the former CIA director, yesterday we were talking about Michael Hayden, at his experience. And Michael Hayden said, this is ridiculous. How can you say you're watching TV? I mean, this is like Uncle Jack screaming at the TV, oh, my God, I can't stand these people. And he's not running the country? You're going to trust that guy with the bomb?
Well, I mean, it's just one bad answer. He gave a bad answer.
There's, we have a collection of shots of him also discussing
What are
military-
shots?
Sound on tape.
Oh.
Crazy little man. Acts like he's just woke up today. All right, run it, please.
We have to stop the ISIS. I didn't want to do Iraq. It was a big mistake. It should never have happened. The way we got out was also a big mistake. We cannot let ISIS continue to do what they're doing. I believe more strongly in the military and military strength than anybody running by a factor of a billion. I will tell you, and I told them, we are going to make our military so strong and so powerful and so incredible. We're going to take care of our vets, by the way, as part of it. Big league.
So, Brian, there's a new poll that says 32% trust him most to handle ISIS, which nobody else came close. My issue is we're not talking about military intelligence anymore. We're not talking about these other threats.
Willingness. We're talking about a willingness. A willingness to have an objective, and to implement that objective, you get David Petraeus. You don't wing it because you've been in big business. Carly Fiorina has a very similar mantra. I on the international front, I deal with a lot of world leaders. I got them in my cell phone. So that's what Donald Trump has. He knows Vladimir Putin. He travels to Scotland and deals with not only the golf course, but with the leadership there, because he's got to cut the best tax deal possible.
Right.
I like you say he knows Putin. He knows Putin.
I'm name dropping for somebody else.
But this is the big problem is that
But he does know him. I mean, how many guys out there could say I could call Vladimir Putin? He likes to see me.
Yes. I don't know. It seems like a lot of people have to explain what Donald Trump says, because what Donald Trump says is what you want to hear, but he doesn't articulate it.
So he's like a Rorschach painting where you look into it and you see exactly what you want to hear.
Brian just saw what he wanted to see.
Yeah, it's where I mean, but the flip side of that, Juan, to go back to your point, I mean, talk about him not having foreign policy experience. Do you like Hillary Clinton's experience in Benghazi more? I mean, she has a track record that people don't like.
No, that's not true. I mean,
really?
I don't think so. I mean, from my perspective, you can say, oh, I don't like the outcome with Benghazi, but this woman's been around the world and dealt with world leaders, and has not only that. Remember, she was in the White House, she was in the Senate.
But dealt successfully, Juan?
I don't. Yeah, I think she had. I know you don't, but I'm telling you, I think she does. Now, I will say this for Mr. Trump: he promises that he's going to get his wife out. And I'm thinking maybe she will make sense for us.
I actually, in all seriousness, his greatest asset is his family. If you talk to Eric, you talk to Don Jr., you talk to Ivanka, if you cannot be a part-time, somewhat interested parent who's an egomaniac, as he's been labeled, and produce these children who are fine, upstanding people who look up and worship their dad.
Nobody disagrees with that.
Yeah,
you know?
and he says
you left out a couple other wives who are equally great.
I actually left out Tiffany.
Yes.
Who I don't really know.
By the way, just before we go, this is to you, Kimberly. He's the master of leverage. He wondered if he should go to CNN and tell them he's not going to be part of the debate unless CNN gives $10 million to a charity. So he's basically blackmailing.
He's extorting them.
He's extorting CNN. You gotta. It's funny.
What a great businessman.
But what if he did that to us?
And such transparency.
Yes.
Oh, God knows we
he'd
wouldn't
never
pay.
do it here.
Isn't that what he did with the immigration plan?
Yeah.
He's shooting for the moon. It's going to cost $160 billion. He's going to end up with half that and said, I got a success. I moved the goalpost back, and I ended up with a 100-yard
He's going to build a wall and have CNN pay for it.
Anything is possible.
Right.
All right.
I find you look at Kimberly a lot, and you have never welcomed Melissa. I think you should.
I welcomed in the intro.
Remember? All right.
Now he's upset that you
Hey,
didn't welcome
buzzing
him.
my
I know,
performance.
Brian.
I'm just saying.
A man likes what he likes.
Okay.
Leave it alone.
Okay. Who complains?
I'm moving on from this travesty.